All right. Hello, hello. Welcome back to a Purpose and Pixie Dust podcast. My name is Lindsay Dollinger. I'm the host of the show, and I'm going to do a solo episode today. It's been a hot minute since I have done one of these. And I'm actually streaming this live into my Facebook group, My Most Magical Me Movement. So if you are not over there, make sure you get in that group. This group, I guess I should say this group because I'm live in it right now. But this group is where I will be sharing like everything first. Everything first. I share tidbits. I share other podcasts that I listen to. And so I thought it would be kind of fun if I went live today since I can. We are not quite back to school yet. So I've got my freedom of schedule, which I absolutely love. But I wanted to talk today about my Disney business retreat that I hosted in Orlando, Florida, mid-July. I posted honestly not that much about it while I was actually there. I feel like because I was being so present, I was trying to be so present with the attendees, and really allowing myself the space that I needed to be the best host, coach, mentor, whatever that it could be. That meant not hanging out with some of my friends in Florida who were down there who wanted to meet up. And I was just like, no, like blinders on. I am giving the best dang retreat that I possibly can. So I wanted to dive in exactly kind of what we did, my takeaways, some of the attendees' takeaways from the things, just to share with you in case you've never been to a retreat, in case you're kind of curious what that looked like when we were there. Since, like I said, I shared some surface level stuff, and I feel like a lot of the attendees shared, especially when they were on their way home. I think my notifications were blowing up the whole next few days just from that, energy high off of being with a group of like-minded women and kind of like that momentum that we got started at the retreat. And if you are an attendee and you're listening to this, hopefully this is a little reminder for you. Like it's been literally a month since I flew down, and I think everyone else flew down like maybe the day later, but it's been a month since our retreat. So what are you still doing? What momentum do you have? This is a really good time to check in with yourself and look back on the notes, look back on maybe your post, how you were feeling, your goals, and realign, readjust, pivot. Give yourself grace for what has not happened and pat yourself on the back for all the things that have. So I'm going to pull up my Trello board because you guys know I love Trello for all the things so that I have a little bit of organization to this today. And I'm just going to share this because I have this written down as a note. I should have recorded this when all of this was still like super fresh in my mind, like a couple of days after we got back. I think I was so in the making sure that I wrapped up that retreat with getting like feedback from everyone. And then I kicked off my mastermind open door for the Confident and Ambitious Mastermind right after that. And I had 2 weeks of launch then in July. And then I went to the Azores on an amazing week-long trip. So it's just, life happens, things happen, but just as a note to myself, and maybe as a reminder to you as well, do things when they are fresh in your mind, when you were living off that energy, make the video, go live, share about those things as much as you can in the moment, because sometimes it can be hard to remember all those little details, especially if your brain's like mine a month later. So I'm just going to go through the itinerary a little bit first and then share a little bit about what we did and all the things. So I flew down, my sister and I actually flew down on Tuesday night. It was a very last minute flight because we were originally set to fly down on Wednesday morning. We had like a 5 a.m. flight, which for us, because we're an hour from the airport and I'm a 2 hours before the airport kind of girl, especially because we were checking bags. We were going to have to get up at like 2 a.m. And I knew basically that our Wednesday was going to be like a wash because I am someone who does not, I am someone that does not handle very well no sleep. Hang on, I gotta text him. All right. So I was all packed and we were like done for the day basically with like our stuff. And it was like, I don't know, 3:30 on Tuesday. And I happened to pull up the Southwest app and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a flight at like 7 o'clock. And so I went to my sister, I'm like, have you packed? And she's like, no. And I'm like, can you get packed in an hour? So we switched our flights, found a last minute hotel, went down the night before, which I'm glad we did because there were some storms coming through. Orlando's pretty notorious for storms in the summer, as is a lot of places. But so anyway, we flew down Tuesday night. We then went to the parks on Wednesday. We went to 3 parks that day, I think. And then Thursday, we did a park in the morning. See, this is why I should have written it down. I think we went to breakfast. Yeah, we did. We went to breakfast with one of the attendees and my friend Jen, and then she stayed and did some work we were at the Contemporary Resort. She stayed there, and then my sister and I went to Epcot for a few hours, had lunch there, came back, picked Jen up, and Jen was a lifesaver because we then went, we couldn't get into the Airbnb until 4. I had scheduled ahead food to be picked up around like 3:00-ish. And so I think I picked her up around maybe 1:30, and I was like, we're going to get there so early. Like, we don't need all this time. No, we didn't. It took literally the 2 hours to get all the food and supplies I needed for the retreat, check out, and then try to fit everything into the car. And thankfully we got an upgraded car that was like the giant SUV to fit everything in. Like, there was literally food and toilet paper and all this stuff like stacked all around poor Jen in the back, like what's it called? Tetris. So we did that. We barely got, I asked the retreat attendees not to get there until 5 to give myself that like hour buffer, because I knew I would want that time to unpack, get organized, all of those things. Okay, sorry. This is why I can't do 2 things at once, or shouldn't have my texts come up to my phone, because then I get distracted. And why, if you guys know me personally, I'm very close with my dad, but my dad has a lot of questions all of the time. So I knew I wanted that buffer, that like hour-long buffer to get stuff undone. And it was like 100 degrees. It was so hot. And again, poor Jen, because my sister had hurt her back like the week before that, maybe. So I was carrying all the stuff in, and my sister carried some of it for sure, but Jen, you're the real VIP if you're listening to this, MVP. So we carried everything in, we're like sweating. I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to take a shower, but there was no time for a shower because people started arriving. So it all worked out. I think, note to myself, next time I would book the house for like the day before to get everything set up and kind of relax and get my mind in the right place before like just having to be like on. So everyone was coming in. It was super exciting to meet everyone in person. I would say half of the people I had met in person before, the other half I had not, just online. We got everyone in their rooms. And then that night, because it was so hot, everyone wanted to go to the pool, which I was all about that life. So we went in the pool and we shared about our businesses, who we were, where we were from, all those things in the pool. We talked, we ate food. And I honestly cannot remember. I feel like we did a little bit of goal setting on Thursday night, but we might have just started that on Friday. That's what I'm saying. I should have done this when it was still fresh. Also Thursday night, fun thing too, I don't know if you should prepare for it, but just to be realistic, I got super sick. I have no idea if it was something I ate, if it was my diverticulitis that flared up. But around 9:00, I could not leave the bathroom. So thankfully it only lasted for like 5 hours. So by like 2 a.m., everything had settled down. I was able to get a little bit of sleep. But that's also why I love having my sister helping me on these, because she was able to help me out, make sure everything had what they needed before they went to bed, because I just kind of like had to slip out for a while. And again, thank goodness I was feeling better, because I was like, what am I going to do? Like the whole night, I'm just like thinking to myself, like, what am I going to do? All these people paid all this money to come and see me and to work with me. And like, I can't even leave the bathroom, so thankfully that ended up working out. I was just kind of like tired and didn't really feel like eating the next day, which, was fine. I was able to power through that. So the next day, probably, well, I don't know. They were all my favorite. I'm not going to say one was favorite over the other, but on Friday and Saturday morning, both, I started the group with a guided meditation. So we like all sat around and got really like into our minds, into our bodies. I walked them through. Fridays, I think, was a little more powerful. There was a lot of teary eyes in the in the room for Friday morning. And then we backward planned our goals. We worked with each other to find our why, which if you're hearing this, you're probably like, okay, everyone always wants to find your why. But this was a different exercise that some coaches of mine had put me through, and it was super powerful. So basically what you do is with a partner, and you do it verbally, not written. You say why you are working your business or why a goal or whatever is important to you. And then they're going to ask you why. And then you're going to respond again. And they're going to ask you why. And they ask you why at least 8 times. So I had everyone partner off. It worked out because there were 6 people. So everyone got a partner. And we all partnered off and did this activity for a while. I don't remember how long I actually ran it. Then we came back together and we shared, and we kind of dissected because some people weren't quite able to get to that why. And I think that was a really powerful exercise too, because a lot of times, especially if you have not allowed yourself that ability to be vulnerable before, then discovering that why and sharing it and allowing yourself to get to that really core root of why something is important to you can be really, really difficult if you don't have someone like carefully probing it out of you. So I was able to do that with some of the women, which was, I was pretty excited about. It was very emotional for them, but I was very excited to be able to like kind of break that barrier. And I think it's important for us to do that like every so often as a check-in, as a way to make sure that we're not glossing things over or ignoring things or putting blinders on things and not really realizing the core of why we are doing what we are doing, because that why can help us so, so much in our business if we allow ourselves to accept it. So we did that activity and then we got started with the masterminding. So the way I did the masterminding was everyone got 45 minutes. And we could basically workshop anything about your business. So, people shared kind of what they were struggling with or where they were at in their business, asked for ideas for next steps. And I loved the ideas that came out of the mastermind time because every single person who was there was in a different kind of business or a different kind of industry, except like 2. We had 2 who were overlapping, but the 2 who were overlapping were in an industry that I have been very successful in. So I was able to give a lot of that really like honed in feedback for them. But it was really cool to hear the ideas circulating from other people and to see like the light bulbs click. And then at the end of everyone's 45 minutes, I gave everyone like 2 to 3 action steps that were like homework for them. Some of them were daily tasks or, regular tasks to do. And some were just like checking things off of a list, like finding someone to collaborate with in the next 2 weeks to do a live with, something like that. So I love that piece because I feel like that is what is missing a lot of times from retreats and even masterminds is there's a lot of talking, a lot of great ideas, but if you're like me, I don't like leaving a call without a very clear set of action items. So I wanted to make sure to give that to the women at the retreat. I also do that in my Confident and Ambitious Mastermind on our weekly calls. So we had our first call last week. Our second call is coming up on Monday. And everyone gets their time, but I want to make sure that everyone is very clear on steps that they're going to be working on next or that week, the next day, whenever, to move their business forward. It's not handholding, it's accountability at its finest. And I know that I always appreciate that from a coach. So I want to give that back as well. So we did that. And then I had the bright idea for us to go to the Little Mermaid. Because I'm like, this is a Disney business retreat. The Little Mermaid is playing. We should go to Disney Springs and watch the Little Mermaid. So we did that. It was awesome. It was fun, even better the second time. Because I don't think anyone had seen it except Courtney and I. So that was really fun to do that with them. And then the next day, which was Saturday, we started with meditation again. We finished the mastermind. We had 2 women left to mastermind with, because I wanted to make sure that instead of pushing them all into Friday and exhausting ourselves mentally, that we pushed people off to the next day and had some time to do that as well. And then we had implementation time. And this is the part that I really love the mastermind. I think the implementation time is a really special part of this retreat, because I haven't seen it in other retreats that I've been to personally, and I always wish for it. You go to those conferences, and you have ideas, and you get excited. And then you sit down and you open your laptop and you're like, okay, where do I start? What do I do? So we had that implementation time. Someone went to the pool. I also showed everyone kind of like a quick Reels and TikTok tutorial, challenged everyone to make a TikTok and a reel before we left that day. I think everyone did, which was really fun. And then I got to like help people, as they were doing it, like, okay, how do you add captions? How do you change the music? And then like physically showing people is one of the best parts about a retreat too. And I wanted to make sure to have that time built in. Another thing that we did, and I'm really glad that I did it, this was like a last minute idea, was I had a business bingo card. I gave it to everyone in their swag bag the first day, which I gave a pretty epic swag bag, if I must say so myself. But, and I gave everyone this business bingo board, and I tried to make it so that no matter which way you got a bingo, you had to show up on video in some sort of way, real, TikTok, live, talking in your stories. You were promoting your business, you were doing something around an email list. And a lot of women got bingos. It was really fun. And so that business bingo card, this is something you can make for yourself if you want like a fun way to stay accountable. But the business bingo card, I really, really loved. And, it helps you be a little bit competitive, but again, it helps you stay on track. Like, okay, I've done this. What's 3 more things I could do today in my business? And you just kind of like pick and choose from it instead of like a straight checklist. I love me a straight checklist. I have my Power Hour guide right here for my planner and tracker system, if you're watching this on video. And I use it. I use it every single day, but I also think sometimes like for like a brain break or something fun, like a business bingo card could be really fun too. And let's see what else. Then we ended Saturday night at Polite Pig for dinner, which is one of my favorite quick service places to eat at Disney Springs. And of course, we had Dole Whips, which I'm glad we did, because Sunday when we went to Magic Kingdom, we forgot to have Dole Whips. I don't even know how that happens. And we also shopped around Disney Springs a little bit. We got stuck in some storms. We got stuck in some stores because of some storms, pretty wicked storms. Like one of the lightning strikes was so loud it had to hit a building there in Springs. Like everything shook. We were in like the glass shop. Everything shook. Like people were screaming. It was pretty crazy. So that was Saturday, and we went back to the house fairly early because, if you know me, I rope drop. Rope drop meaning that you get to the parks in enough time that you are in line waiting to go as soon as they open the park. So we did that for our Magic Kingdom day. We actually split the day. So we went back to the condo at like, or that I was a house, not a condo. Went back to the house maybe around 3 and headed back around 5:36 for dinner. We had a dinner reservation. We got pictures outside the castle. We had a lot of fun. We rode like all the things, which was amazing. And some people's first time in a really long time at Magic Kingdom. And so it was just a really nice way decompress from the 2 heavy brain days from the day before. And then, just have fun together, have that girl time, take some video, get some, what do they call it? Oh gosh, I can't think of the word. When, like be real. Like the footage of you like doing stuff on reel, like on your photo album, so that you can use it to create reels and such later. Okay, needed a little drink of water. And then everyone headed out on Monday. So that was the retreat. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work for sure for me. If you've ever considered leading a retreat, feel free to reach out. Like I said, it is a lot, but I love them. I get so fueled from them. I think the transformation in a retreat and in a mastermind is just like tenfold what it is in a normal container working together. And they're worth it, especially when you can have them in a fun place. And the house was perfect as well. Beautiful, like lighting, roomy enough that people could get away from each other if they wanted, but not so roomy that you could get too far away from each other. Sorry, my allergies are so bad. Okay, so that was kind of like itinerary, what we did. And then here's just some notes I had written down, like some takeaways, and I've mentioned a lot of these already, but accountability is priceless. I don't care how you get it. I don't care if you pay for a coach or mentor, you pay to be in a mastermind, or you have someone who can be an accountability buddy for you. Get accountability. But the one thing that I want to say about the accountability is to make sure that you are not, I don't know if this is the right word, but abusing the accountability. So remember, at the end of the day, like, you are a business owner, like you have to step into that role or you will never get to where you want to be in your business. So like, you are the business owner. So you don't have to have the accountability. You don't have to have someone telling you what to do every day in your business. Like, that is part of being a business owner. Yes, you want the coach or the mentor, the to-do list, the planner, the tracker, all those tools to help you, but you have to do it independently too. So like, we can't blame the accountability partner if things go wrong or you lose momentum in your business. And I honestly wouldn't check in with an accountability partner. I would not take any more than like a half an hour a week doing it. So if you're finding that your accountability partner is someone that like you have to talk to for like 3 hours every Monday to plan, like, to me, that is sending red flags that either maybe you're lacking confidence, you're not quite sure what direction to go in. Maybe you're not in the right direction, and you're trying to make something work that your heart's not really in. Or maybe it's just like a social thing for you, which is totally fine. But also make sure you have time for that aspect of things, because I don't want you to step away from like an accountability call with a partner, for example, and be like, okay, well, I worked my business today. No, we have to actually do the actions, right? That accountability is just kind of like the icing on the cake with an accountability partner. So that's what I want to say about an accountability partner. But that accountability is priceless, whether it's in person, mastermind, buddy, whatever. Another thing that is priceless, I think, is that positive peer influence. So that's why I love so much getting into a mastermind container or the retreat containers, because when you're sitting there in the room and everyone is sharing, the things that are either holding them back in their business or they could improve on, or maybe they're even sharing things that are going really well for them, or they're sharing that like, hey, I have my list of things that I do every single day and I show up and do them. There's a little bit of positive peer pressure, I think, that can come in when you're like, okay, well, she has time to sit down and do this all every day. I could do that too if I'm not making excuses, or if I time block better or have some better time management, have more confidence, whatever it is. So I do think there's something to be said for, being in that container where people are encouraging you or you're watching them. One person in particular at my retreat, every time we were not doing something, she was working and like doing something to move her business forward. She was 150% getting every ounce of energy and accountability out of that retreat. And I needed some time to decompress. Like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. But I do think like when I walked through and I saw her doing that, I was like, damn, like I need to pull up and do a reel real quick. I need to do, you know what I mean? So there's something to be said about getting yourself in those rooms where you're being elevated and you're being around those people who are actually serious about working their business. And you're like, okay, I see you, girl. Like, I'm going to show up too. Like, I can do that too. Let's see what else. I pretty much mentioned all this other stuff, but I really loved the ability to get influence and ideas from other people not in your industry. That has been something that I think has always set me apart in my different businesses is, when I was all in on network marketing, I was putting myself in masterminds and memberships. I was getting coached by people who were not in my company or who were not in network marketing. I was learning from real estate agents. I was learning from people doing retreats, coaches, all these different things. And then I took those bits and pieces and I formed how they could best fit into my business. I think that's like almost like my secret sauce. And that's what I encourage all of my clients to do is like, look at what other people are doing in their businesses, in their industry. That is not the same thing that you are doing. And how could you do something? It doesn't even have to be similar, but how could you do a membership in your business when you see other people doing memberships, for example? And the very last thing is, check in on your tasks regularly. So as I started this podcast, and actually, I think I might have started hitting record after that. So I don't know if it was at the beginning of this podcast, but I was saying on my live that, it's been about a month since this retreat, and just reminding yourself, like if you're listening and you attended, or if you didn't, to make regular meetings with yourself to reevaluate where you're at. Have I achieved these goals that I set out for the last month? Why or why not? And I do these in my monthly planning parties that I do for the women in the mastermind, but, really being aware and giving yourself grace, first of all, because we are all human. I tell, my clients, Rome was not built in a day. We can try, but it was not built in a day. But, just remembering like to check in with everything. Okay, it's been a month. What have you done with that energy and all those ideas? Did you do the 3 action items that I gave you at the end of the retreat? And having some way, this is going to be that word again, to hold yourself accountable for those things that you say you're going to do. We get to be disciplined to show up so big for our goals and dreams that there's no way we can't succeed. Do you feel me on that? So we get to be so disciplined in showing up for our goals and our dreams that there's no way we can't succeed. That discipline though is gonna take, it's like those posts you've seen where it's like choose your hard. It's gonna take you showing up for yourself, keeping the commitments that you make to yourself, and getting those things done that are those action steps that are going to move your business forward. And so that's what I really love about the retreat and what I love about masterminds. You're going to keep hearing me talk about these things because I love them so much. I currently do not have a retreat planned coming up next summer. I am literally traveling 7 weeks and I'm off for 10. So I don't think a summer retreat will happen. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see, but I don't think it's going to happen. I need to have some time that I'm at home, and my poor dog also needs to have some time where I'm at home. But I might do a fall, spring, we will see. So you can head to my retreats page, www.lindsaydollinger.com/retreats. There's a wait list on there. So you can be the first to know about when I do have a retreat coming up that you can sign up for. I might do a fall one. I don't know. Who knows? It's kind of late to plan a fall one, but I like to do things spur of the moment. So that's the deal with retreats. If you are having major FOMO about the Confident and Ambitious Mastermind, I'm pretty sure I will open up doors again later in the fall for you to join us. But stay tuned on that as well. So I hope you loved this recap of the retreat. I loved it. I should have pulled out some of the testimonials, some of the things that people said, but I think it was very transformational for everyone who went. And I actually just signed up for a women's conference last night. I signed up for the Empower Her Live event that's in Denver, Colorado. It's in September. Then the following weekend, I'm going to Lou Mangello's Momentum Weekend in Orlando. It's basically all of my time off for the year. I'm using the first month of the school year. Don't even get me started on that. But I sign up for those things and I invest in myself. One, they're tax write-offs, but 2, because I know that one, I'm going to meet amazing connections from people, especially at those conferences that are a little bit bigger. Lou's is, I think, 50 to 100 people. It might only be 50. And then it's Keisha Get Married. She has the Empower Her podcast, which I really, really love. It's a women's empowerment. It's not business related necessarily. I think her conference is going to have 500 women. So I make sure to get myself in those rooms, not only for the networking and collaborations, but just because I know that that energy that I'm going to have and that drive and that focus, like I'm going to be so laser focused on my goals and dreams after those events. Like, not that I'm not already, but it can be easy, like, especially after a trip or, I have school coming up and blah, 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 to come up with all these excuses and allow myself to accept them because I definitely could use as an excuse. Okay, now I'm working 8 hours a day. I don't have time to work my business 100%, but I'm not letting that happen because I'm laser focused on my goals and my dreams and my vision. I want to encourage you to join me in that discipline and in that focus. It doesn't have to be through conferences, but I just wanted to share that I'm signed up for those too, just in case you want to join me. DM me or send me an email. And if there's still spots, I think Lou's only has 5 tickets left and Keisha's is less than 50, I think. Let me know. We could split a room maybe for Keisha's. My sister's going with me to Lou's, but so anyway, you don't need to have the conferences and all of that, but you do have to have the discipline and the drive. The motivation will come, but you won't have it every day. But the discipline and the drive you can pull out of you to stay laser focused on your goals and dreams. So go out there, create on your magic, and we will talk so soon.